Boulder, Colorado is still reeling after a horrific terror attack on a group of Jewish people there this weekend. Now, the Trump administration was preparing to deport the suspect's wife and kids right away, but that effort, shockingly, not so, blocked by a judge. This after USA Today published an insane headline about the alleged terrorist's daughter. It said, quote, Boulder's suspect's daughter dreamed of studying medicine. Now she faces deportation. It was so bad they had to completely rewrite the headline to point out that her father is the one responsible for crushing her daughter's dreams, not Trump, not ICE. And speaking of ICE, Democrats are now upset that members of ICE wear masks. And my, how things have changed in a few short years. Dan Goldman, Congressman, New York. But President Trump is still working hard to keep America safe. Earlier tonight, he signed a proclamation banning entry into the U.S. for citizens from a number of unstable countries around the world. Expect a lawsuit tomorrow morning. Here with reaction, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. How are we going to keep the country safe? This is what I was asking Dan Bongino. Am I wrong, my sources wrong, that it's never been this bad or dangerous?
I don't think you're wrong at all, Sean. And I tell you what, the way that we're going to have to do it is we have to stop these judges from issuing these injunctions. I mean, it's long past time. We can't let this go on any longer. These judges, these individual district court judges are trying to play president. They're trying to play Supreme Court. They're trying to play legislature, and they are usurping the will of the people. They don't have the authority to do this, Sean, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. Now we can't even deport terrorists from our country. It is outrageous, and it has got to stop.
Okay, what about the president's announcement and proclamation tonight banning people from certain countries?
I think very wise. I mean, you look at the list. These are countries where people routinely overstay their visas, countries that have a history of having terrorism problems. Listen, after what happened in Colorado, you can't say that we don't have a serious issue with terrorists coming over here. This was a terrorist attack on Jewish Americans. We all saw it. We saw the video and the media's coverage, by the way. I'm glad you pointed out just how absurd that USA Today story is. The whole story is absurd, as if the victim is the terrorist. The victim are the good Americans who were attacked in broad daylight. By the way, USA Today hasn't done a single profile on any of them. So let's start protecting the American people. That's what the president's order tonight does.
Let me get an update on the One Big Beautiful bill. And I know that there are people, and yourself included, that want to, if you can cut more, find more to cut, that's great. A couple of things came out. The White House actually put on their website a calculator so people can determine how much money they will save under this bill, under this reconciliation bill. The CBO came out, and usually the CBO is pretty negative when it comes to estimating the costs of Republican policies, but they're projecting that because of Trump's policies, they will reduce the deficit by $2.5 trillion over 10 years. That is not money we expected. We have $10 trillion in new investment because of Donald Trump, basically pressuring people to build in America and not build abroad, and the tariff threat, and that's coming from companies and countries that are investing in the country. Then we'll have more money from energy exploration that he's opening up, and then every time we cut taxes, Ronald Reagan, for example, doubled revenues to the government by cutting taxes. So are we factoring that into our thinking? Because this would be the biggest tax cut in American history.
Well, and also let's consider what the Atlanta Fed said today, Sean, about economic growth. They projected big economic growth numbers.
4.6.
If the president's policies continue into effect. Big, exactly. That's a big number now. After all we've endured during the Biden years, where we could hardly grow up more than 1%, blue-collar workers saw their wages go down, saw their energy prices go up. Listen, Trump is turning around our economy. His policies are already working. He hasn't been in office but 6 months, less than that. And already you're seeing big change. He has got us onto the right track. Americans know it. You look at the numbers. For the first time ever, most Americans say the country is on the right track. Now is the time to accelerate. Let's keep doing what we're doing right here. Let's cut taxes for working people. Let's cut the wasteful spending. Let's protect our industry, get our jobs back, and get wages up.
And reduce the rate of growth. That's what Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton, of all people, did, and they balanced the budget 5 years in a row. It hasn't been balanced since. I think that'll be a good plan. Senator, always appreciate you being on. Thank you.